Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It's time!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Geeks and Noobs podcast. I am your host, Super Beard Vince Hoover, joined as always by my co-host, Kel McCosplay, and joined once again by everybody's favorite little redhead, Ginger Ninja, friend of the show, as well as our companion over on the PWC, our sister channel. We want to welcome everybody to today's episode. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be an interesting one, and we're going to have a good time. But first, if you can, please, if you're looking this on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're feeling generous, please subscribe. It helps the channel grow. You can also use, use a Prime subscription, make Jeffrey Bezos pay for it, and stick it to the man. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, hit that follow button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know every time we go live. And if you're on Facebook, hit that thumbs up, share it with your friends, make sure everybody knows about it, and get them in here on this conversation because it's going to be a good one. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing today?
Doing very well, Vince. Had a good day off, relaxed a little bit. We had an interesting discussion today, but that's not what we're talking about on tonight's episode.
Yes. Kel almost got fired from the Geeks and Noobs podcast today.
I did.
Because he has the worst take in history.
Well, I didn't hear about his worst take in history.
He thinks the original Suicide Squad movie is better than the James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
I never said it was
Kelly,
better.
it was such nice knowing you as a person.
Yeah, I didn't
I'm gonna have
say
to invite
it's
you to
better.
Dick
I
Dixon.
said I enjoy it more. That's the difference.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that is actually worse. That is actually
You
worse.
enjoyed
We
it.
both, Vince, you and I both enjoyed Howard the Duck, and that is a piece of shit film, and we all know it.
You
But
watch
it's-
your mouth. Howard the Duck is a
Classic.
classic.
But it's
I
also-
agree.
It's
But
so
it's
bad
a-
it's good.
It's
Exactly.
the worst classic.
That's the way I feel about Suicide Squad.
Dices and Dishes, that is Super Bro, a.k.a. The Booker. It's been a great day. Got my taxes done today and got Chinese food for dinner. Nice. I made Philly cheesesteaks and almost shit myself. It was awesome.
Yay.
But no, like, there are movies that are so bad they're good. They've reached a full circle. Six String Samurai is a perfect example of that. If you've never seen it, please go watch it. One of the worst movies ever made, and yet somehow fantastic. Then there's movies like Morbius that are just, they're so bad, they're just bad.
Yeah.
The original Suicide Squad falls under that category. And part of that is not, doesn't all fall on David Ayers. It falls a lot on Warner Brothers, who dip their hands in. Tommy, my man, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the chat, my
What's
friend.
up, buddy?
But legitimately, like, Warner Brothers was dipping their hands in it. They affected the editing. They, but even David Ayers admitted that, like, Enchantress was the wrong villain. He should have made Jared Leto's Joker the villain.
Yeah.
Also, the design choice for Jared Leto was also a mistake. Again, his words. That is just... that movie is fucking garbage. And they took the best parts of it, threw them into Suicide Squad, killed most of them, to basically say, we're burying this bitch, and we're moving on. Then James Gunn gave us that masterpiece that was the Suicide Squad, because he made us care about characters we shouldn't care about. He made it brutal like it should have been, and
Weasel's the best character ever invented.
Yes, and he's coming
Really?
back. We're getting Weasel again. He's going to be part of Creature Commandos, both the animated series and back in live action. So we're getting Weasel again. But we got, but also like Captain Boomerang when he dies. And by the way, spoilers for a movie that's been out forever, so fuck off. When Captain Boomerang dies, I felt that shit because he was one of the only redeeming qualities of the first film, and that was James Gunn.
I hated it when he died.
That was James Gunn laying down the line that this is not the PG-13 crap we got before. I am letting you know now we are moving forward. And, like, you cared about Polka Dot Man, and then he got killed. But, like, that's all about the Suicide Squad. That's what the Suicide Squad was all about. And, again, with the Peacemaker, you didn't like that either, which, again, blows my mind. But you're not supposed to like those characters.
What redeeming qualities did Peacekeeper have?
Actually, tons. Tons,
the
actually.
best entrant in TV.
Yes. Yes, first off, the greatest, the
Agree
only
to disagree.
The only intro
Agree
I've never,
to disagree.
I
That's
never
better
skipped.
than I meant Friends. Friends is a pretty iconic.
I never skipped the intro of, like, you know, on streaming services you have the option to skip as you're watching shows. Never skipped that intro, not once. Loved every second of it.
Skipped it after
Loved
the first episode.
No, absolute brilliance, and I love that every second of it. But like Peacemaker, you had so much depth added to the character Peacemaker. He's still an asshole, but you find out why he's an asshole and why he is the way he is. I love the fact that the entire thing, he thinks himself a superhero, even though he's a supervillain, because that lines up with the comic books. He thought everything he did was in the right, and he was very wrong. But also, a lot of it had to do with his father. We're gonna have to fire Matt too.
Villains.
We gotta fire Matt too. Matt the duelist just said he enjoyed the first Suicide Squad, so he'll be off to.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for being on the correct side.
He'll no longer be. You are literally the first and only two people I have ever heard say you enjoy that film. That's it. That's it.
It's a popcorn flick. I can turn my.
It's not even that. It's not even that. Yes, that doesn't. Yes, Super Bro now hiring the Geeks and Noobs Network. Yeah.
It's been nice being here, everybody.
Yeah, I just can't trust what you have to say anymore. My God. No, I don't get it, but to each their own, I guess.
Yep.
To be fair, I was high as hell when I watched it. Okay, all right. Matt has redeemed himself.
No.
Well, no.
No, listen. Listen. I'm a stoner. I was ripped from here to Kingdom Kong, and I could not enjoy that movie. So you cannot blame the weed on the enjoyment of that movie.
In all fairness, he might not remember that movie. He might not remember the movie at all. And so in his mind, the movie he put in his head, that plays in his head, if he was to watch it again today, maybe like, oh, this isn't at all what I remember. Maybe. I'm trying to give him the benefit of doubt.
I watched it back sober, and it still sucked.
Garbage.
Anyway.
Film. But that's not what we're talking about today, even though we just went on a nice little tirade about it. So today, if you got a chance to peep the thumbnail over on YouTube, which if you're on Twitch, why don't you open up a second tab and pop that YouTube up? We are talking about the greatest movie franchises of all time. Now, there are caveats to this. There are rules in place, so to speak. A trilogy does not constitute a franchise. Multiple versions of the same character, but with different stories, different actors, different timelines, doesn't count, except for Ginger did make a very good point, and we will get to that when he brings it up.
And I'll argue you with it until I'm blue in the face.
There is an exception to every rule, of course, because also the exception to the trilogy rule would be Back to the Future, but that's because trilogies count if they had extra media attached to them afterwards, i.e. animated series, direct tie-in comic books or novelizations, video game direct tie-ins, stuff like that. So, like, the Dark Knight trilogy does not count.
You could technically... Power Rangers could technically be a movie franchise.
Well,
it never hit the trilogy mark.
Yeah.
And the new one doesn't tie into the old ones.
Well, wait a minute. Well, okay. Ginger, I'll correct you on that one, because yes, they did have the Power Rangers movie, but that didn't tie into the original series. They used a different
you're
different
right.
entrance for that.
Oh, that's right.
They tied in the Turbo movie with the series, so everything made sense.
Yeah.
And then the series continued on after the film. So if you want to see how they got the turbo powers, you had to watch Turbo the movie. Yeah. But then they had the 2017 Power Rangers reboot movie, which was mixed reviews. And so I don't technically consider it a trilogy because none of the movies connect to each other.
Yeah, and reboots don't count either. Like, a reboot doesn't count as a franchise because you're rebooting a series. But like we mentioned, like RoboCop is one that, because it had, even though it did have a reboot, the original trilogy of films also had video games, animated series, live action, had a lot of tie-ins. So there's stuff like that.
And of course, RoboCop also fought the Terminators.
Yes, which was really cool. And that was actually supposed to happen in the movies, and it didn't. They couldn't make it work. Do we count the CW shows? No. Now, I don't count the DC shows, even though technically they tied it in for a second with the Ezra Miller cameo. But that was a multiverse thing. That gets a little weird. I don't necessarily want to count that, but also
Yeah.
the DCEU isn't a greatest franchise of all time anyways. It doesn't even get close. So fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, they always remember cameo kind of bent the rule and damn near broke it. So
Yeah. So AJ Hoover brings up, what about Police Academy?
Best
Absolutely.
movies ever made.
You got 7 films in that franchise,
yeah,
a
And they're
tie-in
all so
animated
good.
series. It was brilliance personified when it came to comedy. Bobcat Goldthwait was the man. Steve Guttenberg, phenomenal. It was just fantastic. So, yes, Police Academy does count. But if you noticed, I have on the thumbnail, I've got a lovely rendition of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, because the MCU is obviously, by the numbers, by box office numbers, the greatest franchise of all time. It holds that title based on box office numbers. In fact, I believe 5 out of the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time are MCU films, and in the top 25, they own over half of those spots, if not 3/4 of them. They have made more money with just the movies than most franchises have with all their tie-in stuff, including Harry Potter. They've eclipsed Harry Potter, which Marvel now has tie-in theme parks as well, but Harry Potter has the theme parks, the new video game coming out, which is unfortunately causing a lot of controversy, but we won't get into that. Of course, the novels that started it all of that. I don't count Revenge of the Nerds, AJ, because we technically only got 2 films in that franchise. And I think we maybe got an animated series, but it's just not enough to really call it a franchise. They did a
'cause
really...
weren't like the third and after the second film, the rest of the films were straight to VHS.
And they also didn't, they were soft reboots. Each one was a
True.
reboot of the one prior. It wasn't the same cast, it wasn't the same story, it was like a modernization.
There's
kind
no
of thing.
consistency.
Exactly. So, I mean, Marvel's the easy one, obviously. I mean, it's, again, the biggest thing going right now. We've got Quantumania about to come out, and is probably going to set another box office record. So many things to go, and it's been consistent over the last, now 15 years, since 2008. And so that's an easy one, and we don't really have to break that one down. There are others that I've thought of, like the Indiana Jones.
Yes.
You've got 4 films with a 5th one on the way coming out. Animated series, video games, comic book direct tie-ins, novelizations. The Indiana Jones series, even though the Crystal Skull movie wasn't exactly good. I do have a lot of hope for the 5th one, by the way. But the first
By the way,
3,
Vince, my wife did enjoy Crystal Skull.
it's not bad.
Yep.
It's not good when it comes to an Indiana Jones film. Had that been something
I agree.
else, it's similar like what we talked about with the Joker. If you take all the DC references out of the movie Joker, it's a 10 out of 10 film. But because you tried to make it about the Joker and then completely butchered the character, it doesn't work. And so, for me, Crystal Skull is a good film, just not a good Indiana Jones film.
Yeah.
And but I mean, those first 3 alone spawned theme park rides, video games, comic books, and an eternal legacy in cinema. I mean, there's no denying how good those movies are, and that they're timeless. You can watch them now and they still work, even though they're technically period pieces. Technically. Yeah. I'm just now getting Ginger's message in Discord. I hate my Discord. I got to figure that out. Anyways, so Indiana Jones, and then Back to the Future is kind of the exception to the trilogy rule, because it was only a trilogy, but we got an animated series, obviously tons of tie-ins, theme parks. The Back to the Future ride at Universal was one of the coolest rides ever.
Absolutely. I loved that ride when I was a kid.
That was awesome.
That was that was one of the few rides that I would, even when I got older, I would still get motion sick on, because of the way it really was enveloping. When you went up into DeLorean into that dome and started flying around, you really felt that shit. And that thing went, and they hit 88 miles an hour hard. So Love that ride though. It was so good. Which I mean, the Simpsons ride is cool, but it doesn't quite hold up. It's the same ride, same building, but it doesn't quite hold up. And Back to the Future. Those movies are incredibly dated, and yet still hold up. They still hold up. Yes, 2015 has come and gone, and nothing that we saw. There's no hoverboards, not really. We had fake ones. There's no like 3D movies without glasses. The Cubs did win the World Series, so that happened.
A couple years after,
Yeah,
but still, they did it.
they
Man,
did it.
congrats to them.
And Miami does have a baseball team now.
We do technically have Jordans that will fasten themselves.
Yes, they're like $3,000 too, but
Yeah.
we do have them. We also have the you can actually buy like the heated vest that will dry itself. Like
Yeah.
So that some of it came true. We didn't get a Tannin land. Thank God. Like a Dolly World, but with Biff Tannen in charge. So that we almost did. We did have Donald Trump as president, so we were close. But
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago could probably be considered Tanner. Anyways,
Moving on.
yeah. So, but there are several. Like I think Predator and Aliens both
Predator,
qualify as
yeah.
franchises that are phenomenal. Think about classic horror films like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are franchises. Even though they've had reboots, they've had plenty of films in their series and the character legacy. And actually, the Halloween reboots we just got, they're not really reboots. They are continuations from the sequel movie on. So again, horror is probably the most apropos when it comes to franchises. The Evil Dead.
Mhm.
You now have what's it called? The Conjuring and the Nun. That whole universe that ties
Conjuring
in.
universe.
Yeah.
That whole universe that ties in, based on those two swindlers, who swore up and down they were ghost hunters. Losers, but they made tons of money at it. Obviously, horror has seemed to be one of those ones because and I think part of that is because, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's so inexpensive to make a horror film. Even your current ones, your Conjurings that have like much more like in-depth special effects, it costs almost nothing to make the original, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies and the Friday the 13th movies and Halloween. Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead movie, which is still one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. The original one was made for $4,000. That's it.
It's what happens. It's what happens. I love movies that are made cheaply.
Oh yeah. I mean, they have so much better practical effects, and they really, you gotta lean on the actors in the film.
Yeah.
So let's take box office out of it for a second, because obviously Marvel is king there. There's just no denying that. When it comes to money, Marvel is king. What, as far as enjoyment and practicality and timelessness, what would be your choice? And before we will get to your Spider-Man argument soon, Ginger, because I think you made a great one, and I'm going to get to that. But what is the franchise that kind of sticks out in your head as like the movie franchise? Like it's just a franchise that never fails. Even to this day, you can watch it over and over and over again, and it's perfection. Even if it's not perfect, it's perfection. And I think you get what I mean.
Star Wars.
That's an interesting one.
To me, I can sit down today, have no problem watching all the movies, all the cartoons, all the live action shows that are coming out with all the spin-off movies, and enjoying every single one of them because I love the storytelling. Through 9 movies, what do we got? We got 2 or 3 TV shows.
We've had more than that.
I think we're at like 5.
Mandalorian and Andor.
Boba Fett, Mandor, Clone Wars, Rebels. Like, there's so much, and I enjoy every bit of it.
And don't forget droids and Ewoks from back in the day.
Yes.
I love the Ewok Adventure
special.
movie. I love the Ewok Adventure movie as a kid. I really did.
Oh yeah.
Does anyone Does anyone think that Jar Jar just gets a bad rap and he was just like really stoned the whole time? I do.
Yeah.
I think he was like
easily.
eating some shrooms or licking frogs.
Well, he was banished, so
Yeah, see?
and then he was living out in the woods, so who knows?
Yeah.
I went
But
ahead and
yeah,
clipped.
another-
I went ahead and clipped that because I'm going to share that around. That's awesome.
Another
No,
good
I-
franchise that I always think of is Ghostbusters. I mean, I've
Very
loved that
much so.
since I've loved that series forever since the first movie. I went and saw the second movie when it came out in theaters, and then of course the real Ghostbusters animated series. We had video games from that. I was playing Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed today, as a matter of fact, and
Is that game any good?
I enjoy it. I mean, it's once you get the mechanics down, it's fairly easy.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's a good multiplayer game, right? Like it's
Yes,
really
yes.
good. I think we should play that on the channel one day.
we absolutely should.
I think that would be fun.
No.
I want to be a ghost.
I wanna
So
be a
casually
ghost.
casually cosplaying, good friend of the channel.
What's up,
has-
Nick?
He has easy picks for himself. They would be Star Wars and the MCU are his easy picks.
Of course.
Also, he likes to throw in James Bond. That has to take the lead as far as longest running. Even though Marvel's
Yeah.
about to give him like a run for their money, longest running franchise James Bond easily.
But different
also-
stories.
And yeah, but they still, even though some of them kind of jump back in time, they all still are part of that same universe. Even though we get different
Yep.
actors, that's not the same as like different stories. Like
Yeah.
the Batman '89 franchise ended when Tim Burton left, and then when Joel Schumacher took over, it was a different universe. So those 4 movies don't technically count as 4. But he also threw in Toy Story, which is about to get a 5th movie which was just announced. It's getting a 5th
I can't believe that.
movie.
You're telling me Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are coming back one more time?
Yeah, well, Tim Allen is for sure because he put it out on Twitter the second that Disney announced they were doing a Toy Story 5. He's like Buzz will be back.
You
I
mean
don't,
Woody?
No, Buzz. Tim Allen did Buzz.
Oh, you
Tom
said Tom
Hanks.
Hanks.
Did I? Sorry, but Tim Allen was the one that announced
Okay.
it. Tom Hanks hasn't said anything yet. I know he's not quite happy with Tim Allen. They don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but yeah, do remember that Woody went off into sunset with Bo Peep. That is true too.
Oh,
But he
you're
also
right.
mentioned-
You're so
Yeah.
right.
Arguably, probably the greatest sports franchise, Rocky.
Yep, absolutely.
Can I make a confession?
Yes.
I've seen the Rockies. I've seen the originals. I haven't seen one of the damn Creed movies.
I haven't
I feel
either.
bad, Ginger. I haven't either.
Okay. Like,
I want
don't
to,
know if that's a
But
thing.
they're
I'm
on my
supposed
list.
to.
I'm going to watch them. Just
Yeah, they're on
because
my list.
The trailer for Creed 3 makes me interested, so I'm going to go watch it before I watch Creed 3. Because Creed 3 just looks so good from that trailer.
Casual cosplayer just became my new favorite person.
Yeah, he brought up a wonderful option. The Mighty Ducks trilogy.
Yep.
And
The
here's why.
Snoot- the new
Even
series
before
is
he
so
because he
good.
mentioned the Game Changer series on Disney Plus, which makes it a franchise because it is tied into the original. However,
Yep.
The rest-
I argue they're a franchise even before that because they got an actual fucking hockey team.
True.
and they
And
have
after they got after the hockey team, they got a animated series about
Which by the
actual
way
ducks.
was badass. Space
Oh, yes,
alien
it was.
ducks in hockey outfits fighting crime. Are you
All right,
doesn't get
real
any better
quick.
than that.
Who else remembers motorcycle or the
biker mice from bars.
biker mice from
Mice
bar?
from
Okay,
Bars,
as long as
yes.
someone else remembers
Yes.
that,
I
it's
remember
not just
Ginger.
me.
So I'm gonna throw one out that's older that a lot of people don't remember. It came out the exact same time as Thundercats did. It was Silverhawks.
I remember Silverhawks.
Absolutely
but I
love
don't remember
Silverhawks.
a lot.
Want a live action Silverhawks movie. I've talked about it before. I'm going to say it again. We need a Silverhawks movie. Such a good series. One of the characters, his weapon is an electric guitar that shoots lasers, and he's a cowboy. So he's all
Yeah.
silvered up, but then he's got a cowboy hat on and an ascot and an electric guitar that shoots lasers. It's awesome. It doesn't get any better than that. And I think he rides a surfboard. and the other ones have like no, he rides a motorcycle, like a flying space motorcycle. One of them has a surfboard. It's amazing. Such a good show. Yes, Bluegrass. Thank you, Super Bro. Bluegrass. Love that dude. Awesome. So yeah, Mighty Ducks, I think falls below Rocky when we come to pure sports franchises. But as far as like the young adult franchises, top tier. Right? Like top tier. Like yes, we have Hunger Games. We have Harry Potter, which Harry Potter is, when it comes to young adult, Harry Potter is the king of kings. And regardless of all the controversy behind J.K. Rowling, she's a terrible human being and doesn't deserve a platform anymore. She still created something that changed the lives of millions of kids growing up and becoming adults. Ooh, AJ brings up another good point.
Yeah, I was just about to bring this one up myself.
Yeah, and by the way, real quick, Casual Cosplay brings up that Disney did sell part of the team, which is why they lost their original colors, and they went from Mighty Ducks to just the Ducks. And I don't like their new logo at all, and it's stupid. But you know what? It still ties to the movie, so it still counts. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Again, 3 films. Now, here's the thing. Those films do not tie in to the cartoons.
No.
And the cartoons did not tie into the comic books. The comic books were adult, mature, aggressive comic books. The cartoons were designed solely to sell toys. The movies still meant to sell toys, but were kicked up a notch as far as the adulthood. So does that count? Because they don't tie in. Yes, we got 3 films, but it doesn't. There was no tie-in. Or did we get a video game for Out of Time? I think the third one we might have got a video game for.
Well, we got the Turtles in Time video game, but that's what the third film was based on.
But it doesn't tie in. They don't match up. You're right. They took that premise and then just ran completely.
They had a
left field.
live-action TV show.
But that also didn't tie into the movies.
Didn't tie in to.
It tied into the movies.
Did it?
If you go back and watch the very first episode, they tie it all in. Basically, after the third movie, they go back to the sewer down there at the trolley cart and everything.
Yeah.
When the show picks up, they're in the same trolley car, same thing. It's just a continuation, and they find a girl turtle. So
then that falls under the premise of a franchise, because then you have a tie-in TV series to go with it. And the only thing I remember out of that TV series was that they made a female turtle. And then there was that really super awkward Oprah interview with the Turtles and April O'Neil, where she talked about them trying to like sleep with her. It was weird. Yeah. It was so weird.
Yeah, that was more based on the musical show that they had going on in the 90s.
Wait, there was a musical?
You didn't know?
Oh, the live action rock and roll show busting out of the shells. Yeah, dude, they did a musical, a stage musical.
Yeah, they literally had the Turtles playing instruments and performing in front of auditoriums all over the country back in the day. Go look that shit up.
How did I not know? That's insane.
Horrible, but it's good. It's horrible, but awesome.
Oh, man. The Tim Allen movies for the Santa Claus had 3 movies and then a series that just came out last year on Disney+. Yes, franchise. Those 3 films that tied into the live-action series we got last year absolutely makes it a franchise at that point. They're building the universe. That's what franchise. It's about building the universe out. So yeah, Santa Claus.
May I ask something?
Yep, absolutely.
Are we allowed to show YouTube on screen?
I believe so.
But yeah, going back to the Turtles discussion just for a second while Ginger does this. Oh yeah,
there it is. What in all of holy hell is this?
Oh, the whole thing's on YouTube. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
It's an act, dude. They rap and they sing and they do all kinds of stuff.
That is god awful.
Yeah.
And that must have been a bitch to perform in too, because even though they streamlined the suits, they're still very thick and ugh. I wonder how many of them passed out from dehydration.
Pizza
Ugh.
power.
Oh my god, that is so
Pizza
bad,
power.
so
Yeah.
bad.
So does that now if nothing else can make the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a franchise, that
Yes.
fucking live Broadway ripoff of whatever
Jesus
these don't
effing
do drug
Christ.
kids.
It's
Shit
like-
was going on back in
It's
the
like they
90s.
poured ooze on the Dare program.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
So,
exactly what it was.
Casually Cosplay asks a question, and this will tie into Ginger's argument. Does the Toby Spidey franchise count as a franchise? It had 3 films, had tie-in video games, an MTV series, which was loosely based on it, and then the Turn Off the Dark on Broadway. Now, I do believe Turn Off the Dark on Broadway was not tied into any of the films. However, Ginger has an argument he made, and I'll let him make the argument on how all of that fits into one franchise.
And if you, real quick, before I make my argument, you can watch it's called Ninja Turtles Next Mutation on Prime Video.
Nice.
Ooh. All right.
So,
I'll at least go
that's
watch
how
the
it
first
plays.
episode so I can make sure that to see the tie-in moment. I don't know if I can get through
I
more
just-
of them, but I'll try.
I said Spider-Man, and when I mean I don't mean just the 3 that are going on now. I mean collectively as a whole, Spider-Man, because since Far From Home or whatever, what was it? No Place Like Home or home, whatever.
No way.
No
home.
Way Home. No
Way home. It was Home Sweet Home something. It had fucking name. They've all had home in them. They brought them all into one for just that second, but it proves that now every Spider-Man is connected. Right there, that one little scene in the house where they're all together on the rooftop crying makes Spider-Man a complete franchise all across the board, games and everything.
It does.
Some way, somehow, can tie in now.
But what's funny is it actually hits the franchise mark in 2 ways. Because one, it tied in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3 films and the Andrew Garfield 2 films, giving you a total of 8 films. But Tom Holland on his own, his Spider-Man has its own franchise because it has 3 films, a 4th one on the way, as well as all the Marvel MCU tie-ins that he showed up in. So so there's actually technically 2 franchises in one there, but you're right, because of that tie-in at No Way Home where they became part of the multiverse, they became part of the MCU in at least a multiversal sense. They're not canon, but they are multiversally connected. That is a hard word to say.
I got it. I know your damn words, all right?
All right.
Hey, listen,
What?
I need a sound clip of Pizza Power.
I'm going to get one because I can't even believe that's a
Yeah.
thing. But, yeah, so Spider-Man actually, the current Spider-Man technically hits it on 2 fronts. And the fact that also the Across the Spider-Verse movies, the animated movies, this next round, the next 2 that are coming out, will feature Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. And it also features the brand new PS4 Spider-Man game, which to me is still the greatest game of all time. All of it ties in. So they've locked everything in to one central franchise. What Batman has never done and nor can do. So the Spider-Man does fall under a franchise, whereas Superman doesn't. Batman doesn't. You know, because it's always been different entities and they don't find a way to tie them in. So that works. Yes, James Bond is another one. Mission Impossible. My God, what a franchise Mission Impossible is. I absolutely love the Mission. I watch
They have a
movies all
TV
the
show.
time. And the TV show tied in to the Tom Cruise first movie.
Yeah.
That was the point.
It was amazing how they tied him in. And the greatest thing about that TV show came out in the 60s. They revamped it in the 80s with the original cast and then new members, and then revamped it again in the 90s with the movie. Now, unfortunately, killed off most of them, but still, the original cast was part of it. Jon Voight's character was the main character of the original series, and it all tied in. So you have literally a franchise that spans technically, like what, 5-6 decades, 7 what? Yeah, 6 decades. I love the Mission Impossible films. Absolutely,
7 decades.
Jurassic Park, another one, because the Jurassic World series connects to the Jurassic Park films. That gives you 6 movies.
Can I ask
Yes.
you a question?
Yes, you can.
How do you feel about Jurassic Park and getting to meet a dinosaur?
All right, you son of a bitch. I have been trying for fucking years. No, fuck. Hold on. God damn it. I've been trying for years to pet that goddamn Velociraptor at Universal Studios. I had my best shot ever, because it still, to this day, is an over 3-hour wait. But I had my best shot ever right after COVID. They let pass holders only in for 2 days straight. Only 25% capacity. There was a 15-minute wait for that goddamn dinosaur. I get up in line. The people in front of me are taking their pose. They get scared. They scream like little bitches. Then all of a sudden, the goddamn dinosaur needs to take a fucking break, and they bring out a goddamn hand puppet baby raptor. Fuck you, Universal. You sons of bitches.
Can we not point out the fact that we walked through the Orlando airport? There's a photo fucking op with a raptor, and he never once stopped.
Because it's not the same one.
It's
not the same one.
I'm saying that's how dedicated he is to seeing that fucking moving raptor.
I'm going to. God damn it. Fuckers. Jesus.
He told me that story the other night, man. I almost fell out of my chair.
I know, so did I when I was listening to it.
God damn it. But yes, Jurassic Park is absolutely a franchise.
Yeah.
And a good one. I mean, like the third Jurassic World film, to me, if they had cut out the stupid locust plot line in it, would have been perfect. It was an unneeded plot line. We didn't need it. I don't know how they tried to make Dr. Wong, I think is his name. They tried to redeem that character somehow, and I'm like, why? He's an asshole.
No.
He's a terrible human being. Don't redeem him.
Just
yeah,
like
we didn't need that.
Peacemaker.
No, that whole show was about assholes. You weren't supposed to like them, and they
I
didn't
know.
redeem them.
So,
they also didn't redeem
am I
them
right?
enough.
Or am I right?
And you're not right, because you didn't redeem them enough to make them likable, and yet they're still entertaining. That was the point of that show. It's a villain show. This was a hero show with a villain getting redeemed for no reason. Super Beard wants his raptor pets like I want to finally make it out to Cali to go to Avengers Campus, or have someone pay to have me on the Disney World Galactic Star Cruiser. Yes. Coach Ron, how's it going?
Same.
Welcome. Transformers and Planet of the Apes. Unfortunately. Yes.
Can we please admit that I know that we do a lot of wrestling meetups?
Mm-hmm.
But could you imagine a bunch of wrestling fans on the Star Wars fucking weekend?
Oh my God. How great would that be, actually?
Listen, I'd have to eat so many edibles before going in.
Yeah.
But could you imagine this guy walking into the Star Wars thing? This would be amazing. I'd go all out. I'd buy an outfit and everything.
Thank you for the follow, Coach Ron. You get yourself a dancing penguin.
Coach Ron, what's up, buddy?
So yes, Transformers, the films do qualify as a franchise. Unfortunately, they're all shit.
I'm
The
excited
first one-
for this new one.
Oh, Beast Wars looks phenomenal.
Yeah. It looks
And
good. From what...
let me say this. Bumblebee was really good.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest
I
part of that
enjoyed
was
it.
the fact that Michael Bay had nothing to do with it.
I enjoyed Bumblebee.
I loved Bumblebee. It didn't do well in the box office, but people were so tainted by the Michael Bay films and the fact that he was technically a producer on this one. They were like, oh, he's going to have his grubby hands on it. I'm not bothering. No, I liked it a lot. I thought it did a really good job. Planet of the Apes. Yes, there was like 912 of those films before we even got the revamp. Charlton Heston milked the shit out of that franchise. So
Like
yes,
he was a
also a
dairy
franchise.
farmer.
Fast and the Furious. Yes. And a big box office franchise. Not a good one, but a big box office franchise. That's going to be coming to an end after the 9th film, I believe, or are they going to hit 10? It's like 9 or 10. Like
They're going to hit 10.
They got like a 2-parter. Their final movies will be a 2-parter kind of thing, which is also the same thing Mission Impossible is doing. A lot of films are doing this two-part thing. Harry Potter did it for the Deathly Hallows when they separated the final book into two films, and all of a sudden it became that it's very Hollywood.
So did
the
Twilight.
yeah, so you get the post-credit scene thing in Marvel, and now every movie has post-credit scene. They just, that worked. Let's take it and run with it. So everybody's doing it, but
Let's suck it dry.
yeah. So yeah, this one coming up, Fast X or Fast 10. 9 came out right after the Panorama, my first movie back in theaters. Fast 10 and Fast 10 2 are the last ones. So that's the split. Okay. Yeah, so technically 11 films. Yeah, absolutely a franchise and actually a box office monster. But
Oh yeah.
you want to talk about some of the most ridiculous things, not even just on the screen, but like the rules in these contracts. Like Vin Diesel's not allowed to be punched in the face more than so many times. He can't be knocked down unless the other guy gets knocked down with him. The Rock had kind of the same clause.
He has to keep his head shaved, kind of thing.
Yeah, like there's all these weird rules, and yet Vin Diesel is like this prima donna thespian about it, but he's making these giant popcorn films that require zero acting skill. And then he got mad at The Rock because The Rock wanted to do a spin-off film, and he did a spin-off film, Hobbs and Shaw, which is there. Roman Reigns.
Listen to Vin Diesel there, buddy, and left that shit alone.
Yeah, I think he's still better off not coming back to the franchise. I think he's.
I don't doubt that, but that's spin-off.
But yeah, that's spin-off. But hey, did we not get the big screen debut of Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
And was he not?
It'd been fun if the Usos were in it.
I think they'd have done a better job.
That'd have been
Roman-
just
Oh
funny.
yeah, absolutely.
Roman looked like a fish out of
Roman
water.
stood there.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Jay would have been doing something.
They should have let Sami Zayn be in the movie.
Yes. The honorary Oos.
That's on deleted scene somewhere out
He's
there.
always feeling oozy.
Listen,
Yes.
if anyone in the chat knows how to work with great CGI, I need someone to CGI Sami Zayn
Running in there.
running into the fight next to Roman to protect Roman Reigns.
With a chair, if at all possible.
Yeah, that's what I need in my life.
So, yeah, we talked about horror films. One I didn't mention, which you mentioned first here, casually cosplaying, is Scream.
Scream, yes.
And by the way, Scream 5, so good. So good. Scream 6.
Scary Movie's a great franchise, too.
Scary Movie. Now, see, that's something. The parody film franchises,
Yeah.
you want to talk about taking something and milking it dry. What did we get,
yeah.
like Scary Movie 42 or something? Like, it was insane how many we got out of that.
And
I
every,
think we got
and every
5,
one of them
and then we
should
got
have been
like
a
date
Golden Globe
movie,
winner.
disaster movie, epic movie, date movie,
Superhero movie.
superhero movie. So many.
But yeah, I think the Scream franchise, I'm a little worried about the sixth and final, what is supposed to be the final Scream film, because they didn't bring back Neve Campbell because they were trying to like severely underpay her, and she knew her worth as the freaking flagpole of the whole franchise. So she won't be back, so that bothers me a little bit. But
Now, here's one for you: the vacation movies.
yes,
Now, when I say
Yes.
that, yes, they started off with National Lampoon as the major
yes,
studio behind them, but we've had Christmas, Normal Vacation, Europe, Vegas, and we just had where Ralph
yep,
went on his vacation, which is a direct tie-in
yes,
to the originals.
yes,
Yes, actors have changed, God rest her soul.
yes. But
And I mean, it's
That-
still.
yeah.
I think that's one of the best franchises to me. I love Vacation.
And National Lampoon on its own is kind of its own franchise. It had its own kind of like series of films that all sort of tied into each other. You know, like Caddyshack was one of them, but there was characters in each of those films that kind of tied in. So they kind of had their own connected universe long before Marvel did. The Saw franchise is a good one. The National Lampoon's Vacation also got a video game. That's right.
Yeah, it sucked.
Oh, it was terrible, but we got one.
Well,
Casually
a lot of those
cosplaying,
movie tie-in
real
games
quick,
suck.
Real quick, we'll throw this out there. Side note, I want Sammy J and KO to form their own team to go against Roman and the rest of the Bloodline and then destroy the Bloodline. I kind of theorized that in my kind of fantasy booking as well, of having Jay, but then maybe Jay finally turns on Sammy later on, depending on how it goes. We'll see. But I like that idea. Yeah, no, the National Lampoon series is a massive franchise in and of itself. It had its own connected universe. The There is something that's kind of loosely called the Kenny Loggins franchise. Because Kenny Loggins was the man you went to for a soundtrack song in the 80s. And there was always a running joke that all the movies he did a soundtrack on were in a loosely tied together universe. So Top Gun, Caddyshack, etc. All those films he did soundtracks for, Arthur, all that yacht music that we got from the 80s. So that's a funny tie-in. But yeah, there's tons of tie-ins. So let's go back to horror, because somebody also brought up the Saw franchise. We did discuss Indiana Jones, yes. So the Saw franchise. So like we said, horror seemed to be one of the ones that was very easy to get a franchise out of. What do you think is the greatest horror franchise?
Oh, fuck.
I have an easy answer for myself, but it's a purely personal answer.
I haven't. I mean, only if you can consider it horror. But if you can, I would say Hostel.
Absolutely horror. Absolutely horror.
Okay, then yeah, they've had what, three or four of them?
4 of them, I believe.
Yeah, that to me is the most scariest, like in my eyes. But like Superbird just said, when it comes to most iconic, I'll be honest, I go with Halloween.
So, Kel, what about you?
For me, for horror, Friday the 13th always comes into the mind. Nightmare on Elm Street, of course. And of course, we already talked about Evil Dead and all that.
Yeah, see, Evil Dead is mine.
Yeah.
Evil Dead is definitely mine. All 3 movies. First off, the way the movies transitioned. So we had the first one, pure horror. Second one, horror, but with some comedy mixed in. Third one, Army of Darkness. Fucking hilarious. That's literally where that damn words soundbite comes from. Then we got tie-in comic books, and we got tie-in video games, and then we got the Evil Dead series, the Evil Dead, Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Ash is on Fortnite.
Yeah, Ash is on Fortnite. But the Ash vs. the Evil Dead series.
The guy from Fortnite.
That's exactly what's going to happen when I get older. I'm going to have to smack a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh, I already do it with my kids when they show them some classic comic book character or anything. Like, oh, that guy's on Fortnite. Sit your ass down.
Yeah, I just think that
proper parenting.
By the way, do not abuse your
Exactly.
kids.
unless they deserve it, like that. When they deserve it, you do
Yeah, exactly.
that.
I mean,
then you,
it's not abusive. It's discipline.
if it's and then and after that, you stick them in the closet, you slide pancakes through the door, and they're fine. The Evil Dead. So Ash vs. the Evil Dead, I think, is one of the best television series we've ever gotten, and it was on Stars of all places, but it was very, very good.
Yeah.
Now we're getting. Granted, there was a reboot film that came out, but we don't really count that one. But there is a new one called Evil Dead Rises coming out that all takes place in this high rise, and that one actually ties in. It's the original Necronomicon in that it ties into the original ones. So this is a franchise still going. And the new Evil Dead game that came out last year is really fun. Another multiplayer game that's a lot of fun. Similar to Ghostbusters, you can either play a character from the series or you can play a Deadeye. So that's a lot of fun. Maybe we ought to do that one too. Yeah, so yeah, he's casual cosplay. He dropped it. He said it was Scream, and he's followed by Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween. He goes, nope, Evil Dead. You're absolutely right. But minus the reboot movie. Yeah, we don't talk about the reboot movie. Which, by the way,
We did not speak of this.
it's a decent movie. But again, take out the Evil Dead references and just make it a horror film. It's way better than what it would have been.
Yeah.
So
I've got another franchise I want to bring up that could actually technically surpass like longevity compared to the James Bond films.
Okay.
The Godzilla franchise.
Oh
my
shit!
God.
Yeah.
Yes, because like 1953 when the original Japanese film came out. Came out in 1954 for the rest of for American audiences with Raymond Burr, and it's continued ever since. And phenomenal series. I have loved Godzilla since I was just such a little kid.
How many times has he fucked Japan up?
Every
Way
time.
too many. Way too many.
Every damn time. And once he destroyed Hong Kong.
Yes. Now,
You're part of Hong Kong.
Super Bro brings up King Kong, but King Kong doesn't actually work
No,
because the original King Kong does not tie into the King Kong that fought Godzilla originally back in the 70s, which
Correct.
also doesn't tie into the Peter Jackson movie, which also doesn't tie into the current run. However, Godzilla does. Even the 1998 Matthew Broderick film, which was nothing but a giant Taco Bell ad,
Mm-hmm.
as much as the Japanese company behind, I forgot the name of the company that's behind Godzilla. Toho, thank you. They hated that film and said he's not Godzilla. They eventually brought it into their universe and then killed him off very quickly.
Godzilla Final Wars, and they called him
Yes.
Zilla.
Yes.
And
so they even tied
Zilla,
it.
Yeah, Zilla attacks Sydney, Australia. Godzilla goes and gives one tail bitch smack to Zilla, knocking him to the Sydney Opera House, and just dies right there.
Yep. So they killed
That's
him
how
off quickly,
much-
but they hated it. But
Yeah, they did.
that ties that franchise in. So every Godzilla movie has connected. Every single one. It's all part of the same universe. King Kong, however, does not fall under that because they've all been different
Yep.
universes.
Because the only movie that the original King Kong tied into was Son of Kong.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, there was not a Godzilla movie until the 70s with, oh shoot, who was it?
I want to say Kurt Russell, but that's wrong.
No, that's not Kurt Russell. It's, oh, god dang it.
Jack Black.
That was the Peter Jackson one.
close
Godzilla,
enough.
1970s cast.
Was it Jeff Bridges?
Jeff
Bridges in the first one, and then I think,
Wait, Steve Martin was in the 1977 one with Raymond Burr? Are you kidding me?
no. That was the character's name in the film.
Oh,
Steve
God.
Martin
I was
was
about to
an
say,
actor.
I'm
He
like,
was-
what?
He was played by Raymond Burr, but his name was Steve Martin in the original 50s Godzilla King of the Monsters. And then in the Godzilla 1984, which was the American version, they just called him Mr. Martin because Steve Martin had become so popular.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't, it still makes sense. I got a new sign. I don't fucking know what to say. This is what they bring me on here for.
Let's see.
I still think the Human Centipede is a amazing trilogy.
Oh, shut the hell up.
Oh, God.
Listen, someone took my advice, and I feel so happy. They went, me and Superbeard. I don't know what show it was,
Casual
we were-
Cosplay says Team Zilla.
but we were fucking around, and I said, "Man, you ain't seen Tusk. You ain't watching the movie." And one of the ladies on the PWC decided she was going to sit down and watch Tusks. We didn't. We just told her. We just told her it was about a walrus.
Ginger, you bring up an excellent point. What about Kevin Smith's little universe? The what is it?
The Jay and Silent Bob universe.
The View
Yeah,
Askew-averse.
View
The View Askew-averse. That's
What
all
about the
connected. So that's
universe
a
that Jay and Silent Bob are in? By like they're in fucking own little franchise.
Well, that's
they've
all
only
part of
had
the
two
View
movies,
Askew. It's
but-
all part of the View Askew-averse.
Yeah, it's all
They're all
part.
connected.
Yeah.
So the only movie that's not part of that is the Geely movie, which he tries not to talk about ever. But Mallrats, Chasing Amy, all the Clerks films, the Jay and Silent Bob films, Dogma, which by the way, greatest religious movie of all time. And they're in Degrassi and Scream 3, yes. So they actually cross franchises as well. But the View Askew-averse is a massive franchise as well. Yeah, so it was Jeff Bridges, by the way. And I just put that in chat.
Yes.
It was Jeff Bridges, not Kurt Russell. He was in the 1980s Godzilla. So yeah, there are plenty of franchises out there that kill it. I think Disney, like Pixar, is kind of a franchise in and of itself. They all kind of connect. They all tie into each other very loosely, but they all do. Disney also, like a lot of their animated movie, like the renaissance of Disney animated movies when we had like Aladdin and all those come out. They all kind of nodded to each other in a way. And then, of course, there was the DVD sequels, the cartoons, etc. So there's franchises there as well. So as we kind of wrap up the episode, we talked about horror.
Like a little Christmas present.
Yeah. So we talked about horror. We had, we know the number one box office moneymaker franchise in Marvel. But just as an overall franchise, one that you can go back and visit all the time, one that you love, Jax has already said Star Wars. But like for Kel, what is it for you?
Just like I said earlier, Ghostbusters, the Godzilla franchises. I have every single movie on DVD of those. Yeah, Indiana Jones, just all those classic movies we grew up with that spawned so much media for us to take in and enjoy. There's just so many, I can't name them all.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, Marvel aside, I'm obviously a huge Marvel fan. I love the MCU. I watch it all the time. Everything that comes in with it, I'm watching it, and I watch it over and over and over again. Putting that one aside, because that is, again, that's the mega house. That is the epitome of franchise winning. Harry Potter for me is one that I can go back and watch over and over and over again. Controversy with J.K. Rowling aside, I absolutely love the Harry Potter films. I love going to Harry Potter World at Universal Studios. I have my little moments, like in the first film when he gets the chocolate frog and it jumps out the window and then it just goes, ah! Like, it's just the funniest thing to me. Or like in the Half-Blood Prince when he takes that luck potion and he gets all the confidence in the world. And so he's got like this weird persona to himself, and he's just like, and the professor who's stealing stuff out of the botany room, the potions professor, is just like, Harry. And he's like, sir. And with the way he says it and looks at him, I will pause that and rewind it all again. And there's one more franchise I want to talk about that we did not bring up, that I kind of teased a little bit the other day, I think on the Wolfpack, as a matter of fact. The Jackass franchise. Those guys stand above everybody else in a way because it's real, first off. Yes, there are pranks. There are things like that. But these guys put their bodies on the line. They have been nothing but getting funnier and funnier with every film. Jackass 4 is phenomenal. We also got a nice wrestling tie-in with that wonderful match at WrestleMania last year with Sami Zayn versus Jackass.
Yeah.
And that match was a show stealer. It was phenomenal. The giant mousetrap, Chris Pontius in the denim thong dancing, Wee Man body slamming Sami Zayn. It was great. So a cross-platform franchise that has been all over. Of course, there's the MTV series that started it all. To me, Jackass is just one of those franchises that it's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of sentimental value for a lot of us growing up watching it. But it still holds up to this day. Some of it's a little like pushing the line a little bit, but they have, if you watch them in succession, they have grown. Yes, the Wild Boy spinoff was also great. To see them we've grown up with them, we've watched them grow, we've watched them become better people, and yet they still are willing to put their bodies on the line. So the Jackass franchise is a series for me that is so much fun and will always sit at the top of a perennial favorite, I'll say.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're so much laughter to be had when watching those films and the series and everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, even Ginger Ninja got in a little bit on the Jackass side of things with his Nate Slater chops that we got on video.
Ooh, yeah, I saw that. Ooh.
Yeah, that was a little Jackass-esque.
It's stung.
How's your chest doing, by the way, sir?
Yeah,
you good?
It's doing better, but it's. Trust me, I'll never think about doing that again a day in my damn life.
We're gonna get Panda. We are going to get Panda.
That is inevitable.
Yeah, it's not if, it's when. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do us for today. But please stick around. First off, if you haven't already, please follow the channels on whatever you're watching it on. But stick around because we're going to raid the Phenomenal 4 podcast, which is starting over on the PWC here in just 1 minute. So please stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to raid them. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys so much. As the great Kevin Pereira says, kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. Ginger, do you want to pitch anything before we go? Oh, something we didn't talk about.
We all have new merch. Every
We all
one of
have
us.
new merch. We have new merch. Matter of fact, I will put the link in the chat. Give me a second. I think I just have to type hashtag or exclamation point merch.
Yes, Ginger has a whole bunch of stuff on our.
Nope, that didn't work. That's fine.
On our merch store.
Some of it might have been forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vince and I, we both have brand new shirts. So go check those out. I think they're incredible.
YouTube chat as well.
We'll should be seeing those next week.
Yes.
I ordered my shirt and Vince's shirt. So those should be coming next week. So I would be wearing one of them, and then I'll wear the next one the next podcast. But go check those out. They're really awesome. Vince, you did a great job designing them.
Yeah, so the link is in the chat. If you haven't already seen it, go check it out. All of those proceeds help grow the channel and help get us to build up even more. We love what we do. We love doing this for you. We love to entertain you guys. And the more we can grow, the more we can get out there for you. There are some big things coming. With our sister channel, the PWC, we're going to have a wrestling D&D game coming up. Super Bro, you will be getting Booker merch once we get that game going. We've got a couple games that we're going to play, some on this channel, some on the other channel. Like we're going to do a My GM mode when WWE 2K23 comes out. We're going to play it. We talked about Ghostbusters and Evil Dead, doing stuff like that. We've got fun games like Jackbox and the Memes Against Humanity game that we play, Kel. Stuff like that. All that's coming up, so go get your merch. Help support the channel. If you can subscribe on Twitch, it helps us a ton. Tell your friends. Get our YouTube up to 1,000. That way we can make Google start paying us. That helps a lot too. So all of that's just to help grow the channel and to get us to where we can do this for you guys full time. And we want to bring you guys on. Because it isn't just about us. It's about you guys as well. So
we want to build a community with this.
Exactly. It's all about, we want to build an all-inclusive, non-toxic family at the end of the day. Because
like to smoke weed.
Well, yes, but like
some of us
Ginger said, I think Ginger put it perfectly when he talked about Star Wars. He can watch all of it and enjoy it all without having to get toxic about it. Let's eliminate the toxicity from the fandoms, guys. Let's just have fun. Let's enjoy this. And if it's not good, we can debate it properly and not like assholes. How about that?
Yeah, like me and Vince did today.
Unless you're Kel and you're going to pick Suicide Squad over these Suicide Squads. And what the fuck are you? No, I'm kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. Again, stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to raid. The Phenomenal Four over on the PWC. We love you all, and we will see you guys next week.